What's good, everybody? Jack and Lockie here, back with the second last episode of The Return. New season is upon us. We are yet to discuss that. But for now, this is the second last season preview episode. Today, we've got two very exciting teams. Obviously, the runners-up to the NBA championship, the Phoenix Suns, which kind of threw off a lot of predictions from the start of the year. I don't think they were even predicted to be like a top four seed. So to finish second in the West and then still being able to progress to the NBA Finals with kind of like an injury-free run, some would say. And two very exciting teams. Our second one is, of course, the Brooklyn Nets. Don't really know what else to say except they are the NBA cheat code for next season if they are healthy. They had a very injury-ridden season last year. Obviously, the addition of James Harden through the three-team trade that sent Jared Allen to Cleveland, Karis LeVert to
Indiana.
Well, to Rockets, and then Rockets Indiana for Oladipo. I don't know. That trade was a big clusterfuck.
Yeah.
But, so I think we should start – I don't really know what to start. I think we should start with the Suns, maybe.
Yeah,
you'd leave the best till last, in my opinion.
Runners up, yeah.
So let's go
Fun
with the Suns.
fact, Karis LeVert being traded actually saved his life. Did you hear about that?
Yes, I saw that.
Bro, he had was it liver or something? No, it was something else.
Kidney stone?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And they only got that because he did a physical at the team that he got traded to.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's a fun fact from the Harvard rundown.
God's plan.
Yeah, that's on the
Shout
game.
out.
Yeah, happy's good. Suns, yeah. No one predicted them to be in that eighth. Also in even like the playoffs. But based off how they played in the bubble, I feel like they had it coming. You know, they had at least a playoff spot coming. They surpassed like all expectations, get the second seed, and then to make the finals, it's like ridiculous. And the fact that they were 2 up on the Bucks, that's got to sit with them for a long time. But hey, what can you do? They still haven't, after like a huge season, they still haven't declined, which is crazy. Like when it comes to teams losing in the finals, I feel like that happens. OKC broke up when they lost in the finals, and like there was a whole worry about that. Like you see what happened to the Heat, kind of they had a decline now, like injuries and that. But
Boston as well. Late 2000s.
It's pretty depressing to go into the next season knowing you had that chance. But Suns are still a top 5 team. I want to say they're still top 5. I think in the league. Sneaky star. I got Mikal Bridges. I think he can take that next step to getting to like 17, 18 type of thing. Yeah. He proved that in the playoffs that when the offense is flowing a bit, he can just kind of take shots whenever he feels like. He's an odd player, but he's
a great cutter as well.
Yeah,
a lot of his buckets were off just like cuts, and that helps with having like obviously one of the greatest point guards of all time, and Chris Paul kind of running your offense, but being able to kind of read defenses and just know when to cut as well, knowing that your playmaker is just going to get you the ball, and still being able to knock down the three. He's got a decent pull-up game from what I've watched in the playoffs.
His mid-range and like contested as well. Like he's hitting like legit shots. And he's a good sign to like 3-and-D players that you don't need to be put in that box, you know? If you can kind of show yourself a bit, then the team and the whole NBA audience can be like, oh, you know, he needs more minutes or he needs more ball. And that's going to give CP3 and Booker, you know, more room, I guess less pressure if we can have Mikal Bridges step up. Impact player, I've got Jay Crowder. You know what you expect from him. He's a winner in the sense that like he's always on teams that are pushing in the playoffs, back in his Celtic days. And then with Heat 2 years ago. Cleveland before that. Didn't he get traded from them there?
Oh, yeah, he got traded to what? No, I didn't even know. I didn't know how he left. I didn't even know how he left Cleveland. I think because I know he played the finals, and then just maybe he just left. I honestly have no idea.
That Cleveland's another clusterfuck.
Oh God.
Impact player as well. I got Cameron Payne off the bench. He's really solid. He doesn't do too much, but like he does push
the tempo a bit.
Push the tempo a bit there. Good save. I had no idea where I was going with that.
It's all right.
Team MVP. I don't know, bro. I can go. I'd say Booker, yeah, but I don't know. They went up like 6 seeds or like 6-7 seeds ever since CP3 came into the mix. That's all I kind of factor in to that. But you can't really go wrong with Booker there. Yeah, and then Rising Star. I want DeAndre Ayton to take that next step as well. I also got like Cam Johnson. I'd love for him. He showed a lot of promise as well off the bench. He's another one who can take that step like Mikal Bridges. So yeah, it's so cool. Like when you have a team, like a mix of some veterans, but generally they're a young team. Like, and so you're always going to have guys who are improving no matter what, if you make the finals or make the playoffs and you don't go anywhere with it.
Yeah.
There's always something to look forward to. Yeah. So after a huge season, they might fall victim to that sophomore slump, but I don't think it's going to happen. They haven't declined at all. They added Landry Shamet, who so solid. I don't know how they organized that, but they did it. They got JaVale McGee. They got Alfred Payton, who isn't great, but he's still solid. He's a defender. He's a playmaker. He's just another option they can throw in. If things aren't working with like Cameron Payne coming off the bench, CP3 minutes, he's just another option. And I like getting JaVale McGee as well. It's like an athletic dude. I swear we were talking about him in another episode, but was he traded or he signed to the Suns? It's weird.
Maybe like the Nuggets one.
Yeah, it might have been the Nuggets. I don't know, but yeah. So Suns 50 plus. I don't think they'll make the finals again this year, but I mean,
you never know.
You never know. But I really like. You got to respect the Suns for how they've really or that like their come up recently, and CP3 signs on for an extension. He 50 plus wins. On to you.
Yeah, so I really loved watching Phoenix last year. Even when they were even when they lost that, obviously the finals to the Bucks, the kind of last 4 games, even though they lost all those games, they were still very exciting to watch. The start to their games, you notice like the start to their games really sets the tempo for the rest of the game. And like I get that's like that is like every game of basketball ever created. If you have a good start, then you've got momentum for the rest of the game. But kind of like there were times when they would have a slump in the first quarter, they'd be down by 15, and then they have a great second quarter and play remarkable defense. But the thing is with them is like you got to do that the whole game, right?
Yeah.
You can't, and I understand like you go through slumps during the game, but in the finals, you need to be able to affect the game at all times on a positive level. And I think that's where the Bucks had them, because Bucks were very experienced. They've been to the playoffs 5 years in a row or something.
Yeah.
They know what it's like to make the playoffs. They know what it's like to be in the playoffs. This was the furthest they've gone, but Giannis and the Bucks always had the edge because they've had like experience in that area. Whereas like the only players that had real experience was probably Jay Crowder and Chris Paul. Whereas Mikal Bridges, Ayton, Devin Booker, Cam Payne, Cameron Johnson, Dario Saric, who got injured in the first game, like that was their first playoff series and they made it to the finals.
Yeah.
So one, it's a great boost for their confidence, even if they lost. Like, holy shit, we're like below 25. Our core is below 25 and we just made the finals. Like,
yeah.
We beat a LA team who obviously had the injuries, beat a Nuggets team who had the MVP, beat a Clippers team who didn't have Kawhi but still had a really solid like Western Conference team in the Clippers.
Yeah. and had their chance as well.
But like, even though they lost, it was a great developmental year for the core. And yes, some say it was an easy route, like because of because they were obviously free of injuries. Besides, like the health and safety protocols for Chris Paul,
He's obviously wants to win here.
But yeah, great season. Devin Booker, I don't like to compare it, but the way that he played kind of reminds me, it's like he always gets it. Like he reminds me of later Kobe, not young Kobe. He reminds me of later Kobe like in like 09, 2010. Like the way he can create his own shot and just be big in clutch moments. You saw it in the bubble when he hit that shot over PG, I'm pretty sure. In the, like that is like a Kobe-esque shot. Yeah. And like obviously having that tattoo on him. What does it say again? Oh, I can't remember. I
didn't know he had a tattoo. Was it a Kobe inspired tattoo?
Yeah, it was a Kobe, yeah.
Oh right.
Be legendary. Yeah. Be legendary. That was the tattoo. Yeah, so I think he looks very similar in those kind of ways. Ayton looked dangerous as the roll man with CP3. His post game, he didn't utilize it a lot, but when he did, he was getting easy hooks over the defense. Even when Brook Lopez was guarding him, who's a really big body and a great defender, still being able to finish with a nice hook. Or he's still adding that fadeaway game to his arsenal, so that will definitely improve. Mikal Bridges and Jay Crowder were the perfect 4 and 5 option for this starting lineup. And like the team in general, like having 2 3-and-Ds at the 3 and the 4 that are undersized, that can guard 1 through 4, sometimes 1 through 5. They can play 5 out. Like it just made the offense and defense so versatile. And like I think that's an underrated aspect of their team because that was a big reason why they made that push. It wasn't just CP3, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton who even had quiet games like most of the season. Yeah. It was the core. It was having those role plays in Bridges, Crowder, Saric, Cameron Johnson, Cameron Payne, like guys that can do so many things at a great level, being able to shoot the rock and still being able to defend. Cameron Johnson is a very big liability defensively, but he's a good tempo pusher. He sets the game up. He's a great organizer as well. I've got them at 50 wins. I think but I still think they could regress because they could easily go down in wins because the competition now is just going to be so much star
ridiculous
power. Yeah. And the whole NBA always depends on injuries, right? But like far out, if they come against, I'm just going up my list. If they come up against the Clippers, no, they won't win if they're healthy. If they come up against Dallas, I have no idea. That is going to be a series. If they come against Portland, they probably will win. If they come against the Lakers, hell no. If they come up against Memphis, probably beat them. If they come against the Warriors, hell no. If they come against the fucking, I don't know, where am I? Minnesota? I don't even know.
Jazz.
The Jazz. If they come against the Jazz, no way are they beating the Jazz.
Oh, man. They might.
You never know. I know you never know. It's unpredictable. Yeah. It's so unpredictable. But now I just look at the Jazz pieces that they added off in the offseason. Oh, my Lord. Sure. I'm getting into my awards now. Rising star, Mikal Bridges. I said this in the game recap, in the finals recaps that we did for our first few episodes. He is the most underrated wing in the league. I am happy to say that because the way that he can affect on both ends, the game, the flow, being able to score on all 3 levels, even being dubbed as like a 3-and-D player, being able to do everything else really well just makes him like unbelievable. Most improved DeAndre Ayton. I think that's kind of like you can kind of switch Mikal Bridges and DeAndre Ayton around there. Like it's basically kind of, to me, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Team MVP. Last year I would have picked Chris Paul. This year I picked Devin Booker only because he knows how to win now. He knows what it's like to be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He's an elite scorer. He's an elite playmaker. Obviously, when Chris Paul is not on the floor. And I think he will be a consistent playoff feature for years to come, regardless if CP3 is there. I think he's just got the experience. He knows what it's like. And I think it's a no-brainer. Impact player, Chris Paul. This is going to sound, I don't know. I don't know if it's like a bold take, but he is the most impactful player in the league, second to LeBron. Like, the way that he went to OKC, who had a 0.8% chance of making the playoffs, to go into a 7-game series with a James Harden-led Houston Rockets, who also had Russell Westbrook. And the only reason the series wasn't won was because Lou Dort didn't pump fake on that 3 or pass it inside to Steven Adams. He led that OKC team, and he was not going to be there for the year. He wasn't meant to make a playoffs with that team because they were very young. But having Shai Gilgeous there as your 2-man and leading that team, oh my Lord, I still don't even know how they did it.
Yeah.
And then you come to Phoenix, where they've been in a playoff drought for 7 or 8 years, 10 years. I don't even know how long it was been.
Ever since Nash. Basically.
And you turn that franchise around in a year, and you make the playoffs, and you make the finals with that team. Yeah. Most impactful by far, second to LeBron. LeBron is the most impactful player of all time.
I think you're very right with that. I can't think of
I can't think of anyone else that's been able to do that. Maybe I don't even I can't think of anyone. Maybe KD, but no, Giannis, because he went to a Giannis maybe.
Yeah,
but that he's the second man that comes to mind.
Yeah, has to be. Yeah,
and I think that's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
Cam Johnson, sneaky star. I think more minutes now that Darius Saric is injured, obviously with the ACL tear. I think he'll get a lot more minutes, and he'll definitely show up and show out.
Show out.
Ages. Let's go to the Nets. Do you want me to do the Nets, or do you want to just keep going? I'm on a flow.
Yeah, go. If you're flowing, go.
We good. So obviously the Nets had a very interesting year. Very interesting. It was a very injury-ridden season. Obviously Durant was out for a good chunk of the season. Harden with the hamstring missed 25 games. Kyrie sitting out for personal reasons. I just think it was a tough year, but they kind of weren't they weren't going after it really, because it was they were still adjusting to playing with each other. But when they were playing with each other, all three on the same team, it was fucking watching magic. It was unbelievable. They had a good start to the season, and then the addition of Harden through the trade. I know some say that the Nets lost a lot of depth. I do agree that they lost a bit of depth. Obviously having Jarrett Allen, a young center who would just tear it up, and then having Karis LeVert, I thought they could have actually built something special there. And I feel I don't know. I think if you have the chance to trade for James Harden, you have to do it.
They built back the depth. So.
They built. That's what I mean. Their role players stepped up big time. With obviously they got Blake Griffin back, who was unbelievable. LaMarcus Aldridge, who played a few games and then was out, and now he's back.
Yeah.
Bruce Brown, out of fucking
Bruce
nowhere.
Brown. Yeah.
Nick Claxton, they had so many good good role players show up in big moments, and that kind of it helped the burden of losing all those young guys. Like I said before, the big three were very injury ridden, and it kind of ruined any sort of momentum that they had built during the season. Blake Griffin was a great fit at the 5, as the small ball 5, he was a great fit, and kind of having no pressure made him outperform a lot of the expectations that a lot of people didn't really have at all. So it kind of was. I think the trade for the signing of Blake Griffin was great for both sides, because I think you had Blake Griffin gain some confidence again, and get back to his old ways. And then obviously the Nets, you have that experienced veteran at the 5 or the 4 that can kind of just impact the game in so many different ways. I got them winning 60 plus.
Yeah.
If they're healthy though, if they have all 3 stars out at different times, no, I think they'll win 55, 50. But I think 60 is as expected. Rising star, Nick Claxton, he's going to be a fantastic center in this league. Yes, he's a lot like DeAndre Jordan, who just signed with the Lakers as well. Nick Claxton, I think he's an elite rim protector, super athletic, and I think he'll be good as the 5-man for the Nets. Most improved, he's going to keep getting better, even though he's getting back to where he was, Blake Griffin. I think it's a good spot to be, like I said before. He's not as reliant on the threes anymore, and he's kind of he's getting back in the post game. He's getting some fucking dunks after he didn't dunk for 2 years or some shit. And then also having like Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie around you. It's a cheat code. I don't even know how. Team MVP Durant. You could honestly Durant's the second best player in the league, behind Giannis. And I think, you expected me to say LeBron.
Yeah.
I think it's interchangeable. Like Harden, the way that he affects offensively is really good. Durant, the way he affects kind of both ends, because he's a very underrated defender.
Yeah.
He's my team MVP. I think it's the safest option. The impact player is the big three. I honestly couldn't think of anyone that would be like the impact player.
Bruce Brown?
I don't know. I think all three of them have are impactful.
Yeah. Right.
I don't think any other player stands out in terms of impact. Maybe like LaMarcus Aldridge, but he's old and washed. Blake Griffin, I don't know.
Yeah.
Sneaky star, the Aussie, our boy Patty Mills.
Ooh.
He can come off the bench and easily average like 15 a game.
Yeah.
And I think he shows people in the Olympics that he's not just a shooter.
Yeah.
He's a scorer. He's a legit bucket. And I'm excited I'm excited for him to show that off. I think he doesn't have a lot of pressure. He's never really had any pressure in his career, but kind of being the fallback to, Kyrie is very good that he can. Because Kyrie, I feel like he's going to miss a lot of games next year. I don't know why. I just got a feeling.
Knock wood. Yeah.
And I think, knock wood. But yeah, I think Patty's going to be a sneaky star next year. That's all I got.
Hey, we're the same on the wins. I say 60, if healthy. Everything rides on their health. They have three guys who have been out. Oh, Harden's not hugely injury prone, but I guess KD and Kyrie have been injury prone for their entire career, which sucks. Because like you said, seeing them three all in the same court at the same time is like magic. It is so cool to watch.
You never thought it would happen.
Yeah. Nah, the fuck, like they got to talk to each other. I mean, they definitely do. It's just like, I wonder if they had this like years planned ahead or something, because I know Katie and Kyrie have been mates and they talk a lot, and it's like, yeah, you wonder if they were both in situations where we're like, we want to go to a team that can build around us, that can win. KD was probably like, Kyrie was definitely sick of the Celtics, and then KD's like, oh well, time with the Warriors was cool, but I think it's time to leave. And I think that's interesting how stars can form together and how much of a say they have in that. Anyway, sticky star. I got Patty Mills. I think he will thrive in this system. He's got guys that will kind of they know him, I guess, based off Olympic campaign, but they just will let him thrive and let him do his thing. And he'll be really great as like a catch and shoot option, of course. He'll have plenty of chances for that, and he's a ridiculously good shooter. Impact player, I got Bruce Brown. I just think defensively, when he went to the 5 against the Bucks, it somewhat worked. It actually,
which is weird because he's like 6'5" or 6'4".
Yeah, like was it Brook Lopez who was playing? If you're Brook Lopez, that's pretty shitty. But I think just defensively, he's strong as hell, so he can guard 1 through 5. I guess most players, but he is traditionally a guard lockdown defender. So you can throw him on. He's going to get his minutes anyway. You can throw him on certain players, and it takes away from Kyrie or Harden kind of guarding them, which you don't exactly want. But they're not. I wouldn't say they're horrible defenders, Kyrie and Harden, but they're not great defenders.
They're not plus defenders. Harden's good when he tries.
Yeah.
Kyrie's just never been a good defender.
Yeah, which was frustrating. Team MVP, I got Durant, but I say they don't win without Harden. I think we were talking about this during the Nets Bucks series, whether it was on the podcast or not. But I feel like Harden brings everything together. He's like the point guard. He's the playmaker for the team. Just seeing how he plays that 2-man game with whatever big it might be there, Claxton or when DeAndre Jordan was there. It just works like every single time. He's one of those guys who knows how to just abuse the pick and roll. So I say Durant team MVP, but I say, yeah, I don't see them winning without Harden being that point guard or point. He's not a forward, but just being that being that point guard for the team. Rising star Nick Claxton. He can actually shoot as well.
Yeah,
so
I didn't even know.
At his height, being able to do, and like you said, very similar to DeAndre Jordan, and like athletic as well. He's got so much upside, and he has no pressure to go out and be like feed him in the post and go score. Like he can just catch lobs like all day, and play his defense. I think he'll have like a really good year. I say if they are healthy, they will make the finals this year and they will win finals this year. That's my bold take. If they're healthy, they have 3 of the top 10 players in the league, arguably, and a really solid supporting cast. And I also want to talk about having Millsap, Aldridge, and Blake Griffin, who are all ex-All-Stars. Blake Griffin, what they bring to it. This is a weird comparison, but I think of them like in 2013 with like Mike Miller, Shane Battier, Ray Allen, and Rashard Lewis. I see them as kind of similar, playing that role. They have no pressure. They can just do what they're comfortable with and play their role. They don't need to try to do other things. Like Blake Griffin, I guess, over the years has tried to develop his 3-point ball. And being a bit of like a point forward in a way, like he's take that under his, like I guess add that to his game. They have no pressure at all, the 3 of them, and you can throw them on with so many lineup rotations, and they'll be effective.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll like, what's their lineup's going to be? Like a Kyrie, Harden, maybe KD plays the 4, and I wonder who plays the 3. Or Katie plays the 3 and you get...
You maybe go like...
It's tough.
Harden, Kyrie, Bruce Brown, Durant, Claxton.
Yeah, I think that works.
Or like Blake Griffin or LaMarcus Aldridge.
Yeah, it's just like weird because like you do have 3... If you have 3 power forwards off the bench, like it would be a bit weird. So maybe if Griffin can start... I don't know. But yeah... That's who I see those ex-All-Stars as. I think they can play that role perfectly. But yeah, Nets, so excited for them. I just want them to be healthy. That's all any NBA fan wants. They are so exciting to watch together. Yeah, and Steve Nash as coach. What the hell?
Recipe for success.
Yeah.
They've got all the tools to win this year. So do the Suns.
Yeah.
Next episode, the final episode of the season previews, we have Lockie's Sixers, who have a lot. I'm actually really excited to talk about that because, okay, I'm not going to try and I will try not to talk about Ben Simmons that much because we are going to actually do an entire episode dedicated to Ben Simmons. So look out for that one. Jazz are very exciting.
Yes.
I definitely think they can even make the finals too. Like a lot of teams, a lot of threats this year.
Shout out.
Also.
Yeah. No. I'm saying shout outs.
Shout outs.
I'll leave that for after. Shout outs. I want to shout out No Context NBA.
Did you buy a t-shirt from them?
Yeah.
That's funny.
The funniest Instagram page ever. Check them out. It's like they're basketball related.
We'd hope so because there's No Context NBA.
Yeah, it's so sus, but it's so fruity, but it's great.
Like it.
I love it. Like it makes me embrace my my feminine side, you know.
Yeah, for shizzle.
Yeah. Anyway.
Shout out the Barney Grosser.
Hey.
Yeah, I bet. We also forgot to tell you